10,000 fearless on the move.
Let's go. Deep in the delta where the willows grow, in the soil stained by the blood of my ancestors. Punch bowl voices call out to my soul for justice. The wicked will reap what they've sown. Spirit of Aziz is back on the rise. Soldiers in the delta kept it alive. Time to stand up, take our place in the sun. Understand the time and what must be done.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. This is it. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the message.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In Mississippi. Mississippi. 10,000 fearless on the move.
Yes, indeed. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you, and welcome to another edition of the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. I am your brother, friend, and host, Abdul Shahid Muhammad. Please allow me to begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I bear witness to the oneness of God, to the oneness of his prophets, and to the oneness of the scriptures that were revealed through them to the whole of humanity. We thank Almighty God, Allah, for Moses and the Torah, the Old Testament. We thank him for Jesus and the Injil, or the Gospel, the New Testament. And we certainly thank him for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Peace be upon them all. Please allow me to greet you with the greeting words of peace in the Semitic language of all of the prophets of God, of Assalamu alaikum. Those words simply mean, may peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, we have yet another wonderful program for you tonight. We will be talking about and having a conversation or a discussion of sorts about protecting the sanctity of womanhood. So tonight, we will have a long overdue, in my estimation, discussion interview on protecting the sanctity of womanhood, the crisis of violence against black women. We'll be talking with our brother, Dr. Lawrence X. Henry, Ph.D., if you will. Glad to have my brother on. We've been working on getting him on this program for a little while. And by God's grace tonight, we will have him on. I want to move quickly because we got a lot of ground to cover. And let me tell you at the outset, this is going to be a two-part presentation. I'm going to call it that. This will be a 2-part episode because we have a lot to share, because rarely do they really talk about the plight of our sisters and what's been happening to black women. And you would be amazed to find out some of the pitfalls in what's been happening to our women, in particular the black women, that barely even makes the news or even part of mainstream discourse or discussion. So we're going to get into it tonight. So let me get quickly to my axioms that I always like to give to undergird each conversation we have on this program. An axiom is a state or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true to serve as a premise or starting point for further reasoning and arguments. So we open with the first one from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, wherein he says, "He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes for you the circumference of your activity." Always, please keep that in mind. He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes for you the circumference of your activity. The second one we'd like to give is the definition of a slave, wherein the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, quote, "A slave is one whose power and authority is ruled over by another and whose sphere of freedom is limited according to the wishes of his master." And lastly, I'd like to give you one from Dr. Martin Luther King when he quoted Victor Hugo in his message in the wake of the riots of the 60s, crisis in American cities. He quoted Mr. Hugo as saying, quote, "If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but he who causes the darkness." So brothers and sisters, we're about to get into it. And hold on just a minute. I need to situate some things. Okay, now you're on task, my brother. Now you are on task. We're going to take a break as we do and get to those who support us. And we're going to be right back after these commercial announcements. Y'all stand by.
It's 12:20. Chilling in the studio. Taking over the world. Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. I come in peace. I don't mean you no harm. I say assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. I come in peace. I don't mean you no harm. I don't mean you no. See, I come in peace. Ain't nobody I am hurting.
Sheikh's Famous Seasonings. Flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Sheikh's Famous Seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience the Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
Taste the difference. Taste supreme.
Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme Spring Water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water, 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
And yes, we are back live at the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Excuse me, my tongue is acting funny tonight. I am your host, Brother Abdul Shaheed Muhammad, and we want to get right to our farm report with, live on the line, our brother William Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
How you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing fine. All praise is due to Allah. How you doing, Brother Shaheed?
Best I can with what I got, my brother. Man, give us that report on what's going on in the ground, brother, and what good we have to eat.
Yes, sir. On the State Farm project, they just put down some green beans, some butternut squash, some cabbage, and broccoli, and rutabaga.
Whoa, okay.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Man, I got some okra from you. Man, look, it's ooh-wee. Those who didn't get any, y'all missed out. So my sister Audrey, brother, before I left, man, she's like, brother, give me a handful, at least a handful. So we got together, man. We made sure our sister got some of that okra. And brothers and sisters, I'm thankful that this brother has taken up this banner to make sure we got some food going in the ground, to make sure we can eat. As my brother Gerald says down there in Vicksburg, we might go broke, but we sure as hell ain't gonna go hungry. So what else we got, brother?
Yes, sir. On our local project, well, we're getting ready to do another till and pulling weeds so that we can get the ground ready for the fall planting. Then we got to moisturize it, and then we're ready to put some seeds in the ground on our local project. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Brother, I got to go to and order I'm not going to order them. I'm going to go pick up me some boots. You know, so when we get out in the mud or in the ground, it may be a little wet. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to be dressed for the occasion this Sunday. I'm going to bring a change of clothes. After the mosque meeting, we're going to get out, my brother, inshallah. Yes, sir. So, brother, that's on the local front. You hit us on, well, we know what's going on the national level, and you hit us on the state level. So anything you want to share with us before you part ways? Because we got our sister right behind you, Sister Lynn Shell, with the health segment.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to say, anybody wanted to help out on our local project, we're going to need it, especially with the weed pulling and tilling some of the ground up, getting it prepared, for our fall season. This will be our first time planting on this particular crop.
Yes, sir.
So we're welcoming all volunteers. Yes, sir.
Well, praise be to Allah. Brother William, as always, brother, thank you so much for what you do. Please continue to strive, and I got your back, brother. Whatever I can do to aid and assist and support you in this endeavor, I'm your brother, and I'm there with you. All right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, my brother, we greet you again. Assalamu alaikum, and inshallah, we'll talk again next week. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Praise be to Allah. Thank Allah for our brother William Muhammad. That was the health segment. I'm sorry, not the health segment. That's what's coming up, Brother Shaheed. That was the farm report from Brother William Muhammad. And right now we got coming right on the heels of the farm report, our sister Linshell Muhammad with the health segment. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam, sir.
How are you? How are you?
I am doing well by the grace of Allah. Thank you.
Good, sister. You sound well, nice and clear. How are them babies doing? I know they busy.
They are. They getting better. They getting better. We working on it.
Praise be to it. What good advice you got as it relates to healthcare for us tonight, dear sister?
Well, I wanted to, on the last health segment, I did touch on the importance of hand washing because in the field that I'm in.
Oh, you're glitching in and out, sis.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
We wash our hands quite a bit. So I wanted to share with the friends and family that are listening to let them know the key times to wash their hands and how it works. It's not going to be on this long. So the key times is before, during, and after preparing food, before and after eating food, before and after caring for someone at home who is sick with vomiting or diarrhea, before and after treating a cut or wound, after using the toilet, after changing diapers and cleaning up a child who has used the toilet, and after blowing your nose, coughing or sneezing, after touching an animal feed or animal waste, after handling pet treats, and after taking out the trash. And simply put, family and friends, the way this works, you will wet your hands, of course, with clean running water. Lather them both together, front and back between your fingers and your hands and under your fingernails. Now, scrubbing your hands, the key to making sure that it's a proper scrub is making sure that it is at least 20 minutes. Don't have a timer, just sing the happy birthday song.
20 seconds?
At least twice. Yes, sir, at least 20 seconds.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Ooh,
and then rinse them well, and then dry them with a clean towel or air dryer. Now, if you don't have that available, of course, you're more than welcome to use hand sanitizer. Now, on that note of talking about hand washing, I want to do a quick reminder that to everyone that is listening we do see that the weather is changing, right? So let's make sure that we continue to take our multivitamins, our elderberry gummies, if you choose to take those, especially your vitamin C, your zinc, and your vitamin D, because a lot of us do have the task of working indoors most of the time, so we don't get as much exposure of sunlight as we desperately need to keep our bodies functioning properly. So make sure you take those. And this is your health segment.
Praise be to Walaikum salam. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, my dear sister. Inshallah, we'll have you right back next week to give us some more great tips on health. Let's give our sister Linshell Muhammad another round of applause. We certainly thank her. Sister Linshell, thank you so much for accepting that part of our program. And we're going to make this bigger and better as we go. We really want to be informative. So that is our second installment of our 10K Fearless Tri-State Health segment by our sister Linshell X. Man, she's coming to us all the way from the city of Tupelo, Mississippi. How about that? So, brothers and sisters, again, we're fixing to get to the meat of the program. Our special guest should be calling us in here in a couple of seconds. His name is Dr. Lawrence X. Henry. And as he gets prepared to call in, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit of something about this brother. A little bio on Dr. Lawrence X. Henry, PhD. Dr. Lawrence X. Henry graduated from Stroudsburg University in Pennsylvania, where he received his commission as a military intelligence officer. And a degree in speech communications in 1993. After serving 6 years as a military intelligence officer, he volunteered. Hold on just a second there. Yeah, my brother's here. Just stand by, dear brother. We'll be right with you. He volunteered for the U.S. Army Special Forces training and earned the coveted Green Beret. For over 20 years, Dr. Lawrence served in various command and staff positions and deployed to South and Central America, Africa, South Korea, and served in combat for 10 times in support of the global war on terrorism in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iraq. Dr. Lawrence retired in 2020 with 26 years of service at the rank of full colonel. At the time of his retirement, he was one of 6 black full colonels who were special operations qualified, not in the U.S. Army, but in the Department of Defense. Currently, Dr. Lawrence is the owner and president of 90 Core Network, which focuses on, I got lost in my reading now, which focuses on equipping high-performing organizations with strategic solutions for contemporary conflict. He is the founder and executive director of A Bridge to Light. It's a nonprofit organization uniquely focused on disrupting the school-to-prison pipeline and enabling the reentry of formerly incarcerated persons. Dr. Lawrence's formal education includes, but is not limited to, military intelligence, basic and advanced courses, a graduate of the Naval Postgraduate School, Monterey, California, where he earned a Master of Science in Defense Analysis, and is a graduate of the United States Army War College, earning another master's degree in Strategic Studies with a certification in National Security Policies. He's also earned a PhD in the field of conflict analysis and resolution at Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's also graduated from Morehouse School of Medicine with a master's degree in administration and justice-involved care. He also has published, The Challenge Black Female Combat Veterans Face Reentering Society. That was December 2023. That one is not quite published. He's writing that one. Well, he's completed it, just hadn't published it yet. He's also written Silent Dilemma, The Challenges Black College Women Face Disclosing Sexual Victimization. That was in 2020. He's also published, he is a non-kinetic approach, strategically sound to render ISIL ineffective. That was in 2015. He also published What is the Role of Negotiations When Countering an Insurgency? That was 2006. And he also published Institutionalizing Interdependence, The Mindset Change for the Future Operational Environment, Special Warfare Magazine, April-June issue of 2004. Dr. Lawrence's military awards are, but are not limited to, the Defense Superior Service Medal, Service Bronze Stars, and Defense Meritorious Service Medals, the Afghanistan Campaign Medal, the Iraq Campaign Medal, the Global on Terrorism Expedition Medal, the Global Infantry Badge, Master Parachutist Badge, Military Freefall Badge, and the Special Force tab. Dr. Lawrence has membership in several organizations, such as being a Prince Hall 33rd degree Mason and honorary post-imperial potentate of the Noble of the Mystic Shrine. He is currently the Prince Hall Shriners Director of Strategic Development Committee and served as the Imperial Advisor to the Imperial Court from 2023 to 24. Lastly, I know y'all like, finally, yeah, this brother got some credentials. Lastly, Dr. Lawrence, X, pledged the Omega Psi Phi fraternity Alpha Eta chapter, East Stroudsburg University, Pennsylvania in 1990, and he became a registered member of the Nation of Islam in 2020. Brothers and sisters, please welcome to tonight's program, Dr. Lawrence X. Henry, Ph.D. Brother Dr. Lawrence.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, soldier.
Wa alaikum salam, beloved. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm on top of the world, man. Brother, first of all, thank you for accepting our humble invitation to come and be with us. I must say, I saw the article on you in Final Call, the work that you were doing in Florida, which is something, when I saw the subject, we met each other before the article came out. We ran across each other at the National Training in Chicago. You were there,
Yes, sir.
and we talked about getting you on the program, and we had to postpone it. We had it originally scheduled, but some terrible things happened in Holly Springs that we needed to address in Marshall County.
Yeah.
But now we
Yes.
got you, brother. Now we got you. We got you by God's grace, and we want to get it in, man. Let's get right to it. Hold on, man.
Yes,
This thing here is always messing with. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Brother Lawrence, I've already introduced you, man. And one thing that caught my eye in your bio was a bridge to light. That sounded,
Yes, sir.
a bridge to light. That's kind of sound like you leading somebody across a chasm, a dark one, into the light. Let's talk about a bridge to light. What is the mission, goals, and objectives, and why a bridge to light? What led you to a bridge to light?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so very much, sir. And before we get started, I just want to, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I'd like to thank you so very much and your listeners for just spending some time with us this evening to talk about, a few things that you and I talked about with respect to protection of womanhood, and we're going to get deep into that. But a bridge to light, just what led me to bridge to light. As you were mentioning in my bio, I spent over 20, almost 30 years in the military, 20 of which was with the Special Forces, and their motto, "De oppresso liber," which means to liberate the oppressed.
Yes, sir.
So, that war on me, I've been, as you suggested to the listening audience, in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, South and Central America, and I've been assisting, marginalized communities to liberate the oppressed. But I look back at my community and I said, who was the most impoverished or abused person, marginalized person on the planet Earth, and that's the Black woman.
That's true.
With that, towards the end of my military career, as you suggested, sir, I went to Nova Southeastern University and got my PhD in conflict analysis and resolution, where I authored very proudly a piece called "A Silent Dilemma: The Challenges Black Legitimate Face to Disclosure Sexual Victimization," and prayerfully we'll get more into that during this podcast.
Yes.
Then, I'm just going to tell you, all those academic accolades. I got to give a shout out to my Aunt Lynn. I'm sure she's listening in New Jersey. She was a school teacher, and I was not a very good student. Although those accolades suggest that I was very focused on school, my aunt would tell you differently. So I mean, I graduated high school, and I'm very proud of this because it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
That's right.
And I graduated high school with a 1.7 GPA.
Wow.
On
Okay.
a 5-point scale. I just barely, and this was in the mid to late 90s, excuse me, mid to late 80s, where they just was kind of pushing us through school.
Right.
And so I thank God for, he knew I planned and Allah planned, so when people thought that what was going to happen to Joya's son, that with a 1.9, 1.7 GPA, growing up in a very resource challenged environment, Allah had a different plan.
Yes.
So with that, I pursued, as you suggested, at the Morehouse School of Medicine and did some things there. So that's what drove me. That's what drove me to help our oppressed and challenged communities.
Yes.
Our mission here at A Bridge to Light is to enable underserved communities to overcome obstacles that have traditionally hindered their progress and access to human needs.
Yes.
However, with a particular emphasis on disabling the school to prison pipeline and further reintegrating the formerly incarcerated into society.
Yes.
Our vision, our long-term vision, 5 to 10 year vision is to transform environments of despair into thriving communities of holistic wellness.
Yes, sir.
How do we do that? We're going to analyze, we're going to conduct programs and activities to reduce recidivism, to reduce violence, to increase access to employment, to increase healthcare awareness. And one thing you didn't mention, brother, which I'm so very proud of, is that I beat the devil. I beat the devil called cancer.
Come
I
on,
beat the
man.
devil called
I saw
stage
your
3
article.
colon cancer. Yes, sir. So I beat that devil called cancer. Now, you know, he's always lurking and trying to find a gap in the perimeter like any skilled enemy. But, you know, as I say, you know, we have to be right all the time. The enemy has to be right one time.
Man.
So that's where I'm eating to live. I'm fasting. I'm doing what's prescribed. So we can, you know, so I can further facilitate the access to health care and increase access to educational support to those who are less fortunate that live in my community. So those are the short-term goals, long-range objectives, our mission statement here at A Bridge to Light, sir.
Wow, great. And I can certainly relate to it, brother, especially dealing with the reintroductory of formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters into the society.
Yes,
because I've done prison reform ministry for right at 25, really around 27 years. So, man, I mean, I guess that's probably what drew us to this to some degree. Now, this protection of womanhood, you've had panel discussions. I saw the article in the final call. What inspired the protection of womanhood? What inspired that discussion, brother? You kind of hit on some of it in your response to the previous question, but specifically, what inspired it?
Well, I would like to take us to page 58 in Closing the Gap. Page 58, Closing the Gap. When Brother Jabril was interviewing our dear Minister Farrakhan, and he said, Brother Jabril mentioned, he said, what is the relationship between between a man honoring his mother and a man honoring women in general? And Mr. Farrakhan responded, mother is next to Allah, God. And the messenger of Allah, God, who brings the word of God, Allah, and is the example of how the word should be carried forth into this life. Next to those two, nothing supersedes mother. When a man learns to honor and respect his mother and perceives her in accordance with Allah, God's will and purpose for her creation, then it flows from the perception of his mother, and understand that all women who are mothers potentially should be given the same honor and respect that one would give to one's mother. When you see your sister, a potential mother, you honor your sister. You protect your sister as you would protect your mother, your aunt, or your cousin. This flows from the proper perception of mother, which comes the proper perception of women.
Man.
So that's what formed the backdrop, the foundation of the protection of womanhood. Okay. When we see our sisters, they're going to be potential mothers. When you see our aunts and our sisters and so forth, who will be potential mothers, who is going to bring life into this world, the potential person who's going to solve the world's problems through her womb. We got to protect that.
Yes, sir.
We have to protect that, brother, with our lives. So that's what formed the backdrop of this. Also, sir, nobody's talking about the protection of womanhood, namely Black womanhood.
That's right.
Okay, let me say that again. I heard you bear witness, sir. So I'm gonna say that again.
Say it again. That's right.
No one is talking about, the protection of womanhood, namely that Black woman in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
In Chicago, on the South Side.
Yes, sir.
In Houston, Texas. In Newark, New Jersey. Her right over there. You right over there listening. Nobody's talking about you.
That's right.
And how we should protect you. Now it's funny, brother, that when I first was getting this panel discussion together, this woman who is not a Black woman said, "They don't belong to you. They're not your property." I said, she absolutely does belong to me, and I belong to her. And I have a fiduciary responsibility.
That's right.
To protect her. to protect her because she's going to bring the cure to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, brother, what also inspired me, sir, was a silent dilemma. And again, I pray that we get to that this evening. The challenges that Black collegiate women face disclosing sexual victimization, which is huge.
Yes, it is.
Sir.
It's very huge.
Yes.
And to the audience, and see, this is right in my wheelhouse because this is what I do professionally. I am a sex crime special victims unit investigator, and I investigate and solve crimes against children. And the predominance, the lion's share, over 97% of the victims are our young girls. So not only are our women under siege, so are our young girls, preteens. That's what I'm talking about. So, brother, this thing is a crisis, because that's the tag or the subtitle that I put to tonight's program when I put this together, because you said you wanted to come on. I knew what the title was going to be: protecting the sanctity of womanhood, the crisis of violence against Black women. So, brother, man, look, we don't worry, brother. We're going to do 2 parts to this. And I would like to, in the second part, I want to get as many women as possible to hopefully call in and have a discussion with you, brother, or ask you questions. But when we talk about violence against women, people hear the word violence, Brother Lawrence, man, and they think, okay, for the most part, most of us tend to confine that word to the meaning of violence against the body or bodily harm or injury. But give us that broad definition of violence that I saw in your writings.
Wow. I tell you, violence is as common to us now as the air we breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Because of, as Student Minister Chad Muhammad Mas, number 47, Tampa, Florida, he said, music, media, and movies, portray, give birth to the violence. And there's so many definitions of violence, but I like this one because it captures the direct and indirect nature of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, the intentional use of physical force or power. And I like to pause on the word power for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's various forms of power. We have expert power, we have reward power, we have coercive power, we have legitimate power, we have reverent power. Again, expert, reward, coercive, legitimate, and reverent power. And these uses of power are threatened to use them against oneself or another person or a group or community that either result in or high likelihood of injury or death, psychological harm. But here's the piece that I really want us to focus on: the maldevelopment or deprivation.
Man.
Maldevelopment or deprivation. Yes,
deprivation.
Sir. Yes, sir.
The root of that is deprive.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And to take it a little bit deeper, I've studied violence. Violence has been a part of my life for a very long time. Formally, as you suggested in my bio, as a military officer, and with the PhD and other aspects, I continue to study violence and its effect on unique communities. And there's a model or a theory called the triangle of violence. Triangle of violence.
Mm-hmm.
And the triangle of violence, a guy by the name of Johan Galtung, in 1969, if you can envision a triangle, and in the right portion, it has structural violence.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where violence is born, because this is where policies, procedures, practices, and just the distribution of resources, or the misdistribution of resources facilitate a structural violent environment. When we think about that, let's think about Jim Crow for a minute.
Yes, sir.
And it is tied to one's identity. Because you're Black, because you're a Black woman, because you're a black woman who comes from Memphis, Tennessee, there's policies, procedures, and the allocation or misallocation of resources to create a violent environment for you. Again, maldevelopment or deprivation.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move over in the triangle to what they will call cultural violence. So the birth of violence comes from structural violence. The cultivation of violence comes from cultural violence. And based on those laws, these are the stories we tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have access to certain resources and you may be deprived to have basic human needs like education, jobs, then communities will start forming racist or presidential attitudes or say things about that group. Because those blacks must be stupid because they don't have good schools. Because the policies and procedures during Jim Crow forbid us to have schools in certain areas.
Then wonder why we're not educated, huh?
Correct. And now those stories that we tell ourselves give way and validate the manifestation of violence, physical violence,
yes,
or lack of resources, or lack of, I would say, physical violence at the tip of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the birth with laws because of one's identity. And now we're talking about the black woman tonight. The stories we tell ourselves based on those laws and the actions taken, validated by those stories we tell ourselves against the black woman.
Yes, sir.
So that's why, this protection of womanhood, because we're trying to rewrite the stories. We're trying to rewrite the stories which we tell ourselves through certain policies, procedures, and so forth, sir. So
yes, sir.
That's where we're at with the violence piece, sir.
Well, praise be to Allah. Brother, when you talked about the triangle, my mind, this question came in my mind when you said triangle and structure. I asked myself, well, who is the architect of it? Because then I thought about the word social engineering, and one of the talks that I gave recently in Holly Springs, I talked about how the environment in our communities are being socially engineered, which is analogous with this triangle and this structure of violence that exists among us by forces that the scripture calls principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world in high places, many places of authority and governance.
Yes, sir.
So, dear brother, man, look, I knew this was going to be one of them ones where, I know the audience I'm looking at comments, brother, they are like, wow, and these are the kind of discussions that we need to have. Our sisters, brother, are under daily are being accosted in a way that many of us just would not believe. So I want to ask, brother, what created this environment for the discussion, the panel discussion? Because, it's a discussion that's really long overdue, especially where black women are concerned. What has created the environment for the discussion to take place?
Well, that's a great question. And what has created the environment was, I was fortunate. I was on an international webinar, and with a particular group, and we were talking about the protection of womanhood. And it was a very spirited conversation. It was supportive. But I said something was wrong. Something was very wrong with that conversation, because although it was spirited and very supportive, it lacked a unique aspect of the conversation, and it was the black woman.
Oh, so
there was no women in this conversation. Oh yeah,
every woman but the black woman was being discussed, huh?
Well, there was no black women.
Oh, it was no black women there in the conversation. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Involved in the conversation.
So her perspective was not present.
Correct. It's just like I always say, far too often, white men make decisions for black women.
Ooh, brother, say that again.
Come on now. Come on now.
White men make decisions
for black women.
You know what?
And which affects. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No, I just, you know what? That is very true. And they do it in such a skillful way, they make our sisters think that they made the decision and make us believe that our women made it. But no, please continue.
Yes, sir. So with that, sir, I said, we have to broaden this conversation. We have to broaden this conversation because, we are we are wrong, although these are all black men having this discussion. We're thinking that we have the answers to their problems. But that's not the case. And so, there's a perception in the world that, again, as I mentioned before, Student Minister Chad from Muhammad 47, we have the music, the media, the 24-hour news cycle, which paints a very depressive picture about our sisters.
It does.
And it's the exploitive picture.
Yes.
Exploitive picture. And we will say that this is coming externally. As you mentioned earlier, the principalities and so forth are from high places. And there's certain people and in certain organizations that facilitate the destruction of black and brown communities through their women. But we have to put a pin in that.
Right.
Okay, and look internally.
Yes.
What are we doing? What are we doing to hurt ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm not against no one making their money.
Right.
I'm not against no one making their money, but when it comes to the detriment and destruction of little black girls, and little brown girls who hear you saying these words to a catchy beat, and they look at these videos and they want to emulate that, and the information is just so powerful.
Yes, it is.
We can have the most righteous and clean houses, on the planet Earth, but the enemy, Shaitan, he whispers to the heart of men.
That's right.
Through information. So we have to be careful that, we understand that, our communities, a nation is judged by the conduct of their women.
That's right.
And no nation can rise no higher than its women.
That's right.
That's right.
Brother.
So
I'm sorry.
Yes,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done. No.
No. Go ahead, brother. I'm talking too much.
No, sir. Well, brother, we certainly will not exhaust this conversation. Certainly not tonight, and not even in the next part 2 of this. But brother, my mind went to, and on every platform and social media and music, movies, and the like, what you mentioned, the 24-hour news cycle, there is the hypersexualization of black women in particular. She's always depicted, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan pointed out to us, she's called a tart. So, and I'm saying this, brother, because we talked a little earlier today, and I made mention of this sister. And to our audience, this is certainly not to cast any shade or to disparage this beautiful black woman in the least. But our sister is a performer, but her stage name is Megan Thee Stallion. Now, I want you to think about that. Megan Thee Stallion. Now, and I'm going to challenge you. Go look up the word or the name Megan. But stallion, you know what a stallion is? It's a male horse, not a female. So it gives the connotation that you are role reversing, and masculinizing our women, and unfortunately, brother, she's just one of many of the images that where our women are hypersexualized. They're gyrating and they're popping their hips, and I remember a sister telling me once, I was in a discussion with a sister at work. I was working in a jail at this time. We were talking about, how women dress and, and all of this. And the sister said, y'all men are just weak. We can dress however we want to dress. I said, well, sister, that is true. That's not necessarily that men are weak. I mean, we're naturally drawn to the beauty of your form. And your form should not be the visual property of any man that desires to look. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then I told her, I said, so you have a right to dive in shark-infested waters and cover yourself in the blood right before you do it. But you don't have the right to expect sharks not to devour you. You don't have that right. So you can dive out there if you want. That's your right. Your body, you can cover yourself in blood and dive in the waters. But it is unreasonable to expect the sharks to swim right by you. That's not reasonable. So, you know, but brother, as you just stated, and the environment that, you know, led up to this panel discussion that, you know, produced the environment that produced the desire to go after that. What drove you to, you asked some pointed questions. Some were for women, some were for men, some were for any panelist. And I want to go into some of these questions that you asked of the women. And if you would, through the lens that you looked, answer these questions. To the women, it was asked, how do you characterize protection / security? Is it important to you? If so, why? How would you want to be protected? Now, I can imagine how some of the women may have answered that question. But if you would, brother, your thoughts on it. Not that you are one, of course we know that. Not. But how do you generally hear women answer that question, and how would you?
Yes, sir. And by no means, dear sisters, am I speaking for you. As my dear brother and I spoke earlier today, and I say this during all the panel discussions, that we have to be very, very careful not to give simple answers to very complex questions. I'm saying it again because that's very important. Far too often, we'll say, well, why don't she just, or why don't he just, or why don't they just, and give an answer that, you know, maybe culturally supportive or, you know, religiously, you know, supportive and so forth, but not really have.
Hold, brother, you went out. Hold on just a second, please.
Trying to do that by giving it.
Hold on. Are you there, brother? Hold on just a minute, Brother Lawrence. We have a little.
Looking through the lens of a man, you know, we're very structurally focused, physically focused, you know, financially focused. You know, if we want to take care of our home, we put a lock on the door. We might put a dog in our house and other means to protect our home. When we go, if someone was to court someone, or as they would say, dating in the world, you know, he locks the doors or pay for dinner. But she, on the other hand, her concerns goes beyond just the physical and structural aspect of security.
Yes, sir.
Hers is more, you know, emotional, psychological.
Right.
Yes, yes, she takes on all of his concerns and hers. Is he going to rape me? Is he going to beat me up? Is he going to hurt my kids? Is he going to kill me? You know, is he going to, you know, leave me? You know, so there's some security, you know, some security issues there, right. Predictability issues. Is he going to treat me fair and equitable or be misogynist? So there's concerns that namely black women, you know, just being a woman is one dimension, but adding the component of being a black woman, you know, adds, am I too dark? Am I too boisterous? Am I too light? Am I too skinny? Am I this? Am I that? So all of these questions of security may pop up in her mind. That men, we don't even have a clue. Nor do it's not something that we rarely think about. And this is the purpose of this panel discussion, is that to have these difficult conversations.
Right.
To have these difficult conversations so we can be more comfortable in speaking to a panel discussion as far as the protection of womanhood, sexuality, and a lot of taboo discussions that we were taught in the 70s and 80s. We don't have those discussions at the kitchen table.
Right.
But unfortunately, because we don't have those discussions at the kitchen table, we don't have those discussions at all.
Right.
And this is why many Black collegiate women who were sexually assaulted are not comfortable, based on my dissertation, of having these conversations.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And you glitched out, brother. The audio on your end went out for just a second, so we missed a few of the words but I think we got the gist of what your response was to that question. Now, this question was asked of the men on your panel discussion. And the question you asked the men on the panel was, how does the various forms of violence that women face affect one's desire and or ability to protect them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna go back to that triangle of violence. We're gonna hit that a few times tonight, because I want my desire for my brothers and sisters that had to take away from this conversation not only be fairly entertained by a pretty decent discussion between you and I,
edutained,
but we're going to train as well.
Yes, sir.
We're going to train. We're not here to entertain. We're here to train our people. We're trying to equip them with something.
Right.
That triangle violence comes back up, and we're looking at the stories we tell ourselves, based on movies, based on entertainment, based on how we're raised and culturally and so forth. She's acting like a XYZ, therefore she may not deserve my protection. So the stories we tell ourselves sometimes serves as a barrier. Sometimes serves as a barrier to do the right thing. Again, I'm not speaking in totality. I'm speaking in generalities, and again, very simple answers to very complex questions get people and communities killed. So I just
hold on. Say that again, brother, please. I don't think you heard that one.
Yes, sir. Simple questions, the complex answers. Excuse me. Simple answers, the complex questions get people and communities killed, and can further facilitate deprivation and maldevelopment.
I hope y'all heard that. Because some tend to think that the answers to the complex issues and problems among our people, especially in truth, where our women are concerned, not that they are the biggest problem. Because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that 75% of the teaching is for the woman. Not because she's 75% of the problem, but because she's actually 75% of the answer.
The solution. Yes, sir.
The solution. You know, brother, because, I had to learn this, brother. I was dumb, like your average, just stupid, ignorant, man. Just didn't know. And I heard the Honorable Louis Farrakhan when he said that, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, there is no such thing as a no good woman. When it first landed on my ears, brother, I was like, what? Come on, man. But when I got out of my feelings and really thought about it, because he followed that up with this, he said, there's no such thing as a no good woman. Wherever you find a no good woman, a no good man somewhere made her that way. And when I began to think about and actually began to do some reading and research on it, you will find, brother, that based on the nature of her and us and the way we and she is wired, the woman seeks security from the man and the man seeks comfort and peace of mind in the woman. So that's why you see women around powerful men, even if the power is a positive power or a negative power. So you see a lot of women around dope boys because they have the perception of power and influence. And it is he that takes her down the rabbit hole. And wherever you see that, brother, you know, and once I wrapped my head around it, I was like, wow, man, that is true. Ain't no such thing as no good women. We make them that way. And what you'll find, dear brother, and to the audience, and I've discovered this even in greater detail with what I do every day, it will blow your mind, brother and sisters. Well, not the sisters, but brothers that are listening, it will blow your mind the number of our women who have been sexually molested in the early years of their lives, but they are carrying it to the grave because it always happens and comes from someone close, some family member, some brother, even dad or uncle. And because the person is so close, the family rarely even believes that it happened to her. So she has to take that crap to the grave. And I'm telling you, that is the honest God truth. And I bear witness to it because I see it on a daily basis. And it's really tragic. So, brother, look, more questions. We're supposed to take a break. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break, brother. And we're at that part of the program where we have to take a break, dear family. And we are going to, of course, get with those who support us. We always want to make sure we acknowledge those who support us. So, brothers and sisters, please stand by. We'll be right back after these commercial announcements.
Shake's famous seasonings, flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's famous seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real, authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
Taste the difference. Taste supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme Spring Water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water. 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience the Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reports?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
All right, y'all, we're right back here at the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Brother Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. We are here with our brother, Dr. Lawrence X. Henry, PhD, with our subject, which is very, very powerful and very insightful and enlightening, protecting the sanctity of womanhood, a discussion/interview on protecting the sanctity of womanhood, the crisis of violence against black women. Brother, Dr. Lawrence, brother, I know you're still there, right?
I'm here.
Yes, I know.
I ain't going nowhere.
I know, brother. You better not, man. You have me come looking for you, brother. But Brother Lawrence, man, the responses I'm getting, I scanned, kind of perused, and one of our sisters, Sister Joya Brown, she said, "I appreciate the topic!" ! It's very reassuring to know that men are aware of the attack on women. She's using exclamation points when she's saying this. And this just bears witness to, what's happened and is happening with many of our sisters. A lot of our women, brother, are suffering in silence and have been suffering in silence for the lion's share of their lives, because they've been violated. They were violated when they were little girls, man, and they're grown women now. They've just learned to manage it. But, like a sword with a scab on it, if you pick at it, brother, and broach the subject, Don Louis Farrakhan has said this, when he begins to talk about sexual assault of our women who have been violated, and he looks out in the audience and he sees women crying, because he's touching something that's under the scab that they've had to develop to protect themselves, man. So, but let's dive back in head first, brother. I want to get another.
Before you get started, brother, you said that person's name was Joya?
Yes.
Joya. So
Joya Brown.
Joya Brown.
Yeah,
well, I tell
Joya
you what,
Brown.
I have my first cousin who's listening tonight. Her name happens to be Joya Brown.
Oh, okay.
that may be her.
Man, cuz bearing witness, brother. She's bearing witness,
sir.
Man. So,
yes, sir.
That was
my
new
mother
name.
happens to be named Joya.
Oh,
so
okay.
We in alignment tonight, sir.
Yes, and our sister from Holly Springs is on, Sister Johnny Houston. She's a warrior queen down there. The believers are on. I see your Sister Bree. My wife is on. Sister Shahida, Sister Marissa. She is on. And who else? Sister Patsy. She's down in Tupelo listening. My brother Baki, is on. Brother Captain Baki, thank you for tuning in, sir. And there are others. Let me see if I can get some more. I don't want to leave them. You know how you leave somebody. Brother Keith is on. Brother Kenneth 2X. Sister Patricia 2 is in the house from the great city of Holly Springs, Mississippi. And my brother, of course, Brother William with the Farm Report. He hang out, brother. He just hang around. And I'm thankful for the believers in Holly Springs that support this podcast. But yes, we got a decent audience tonight. But brother,
yes.
You asked another question that I don't want to skip over anything, because we're going to do a part 2 to this. And I want to solicit our women and our sisters to tune in and listen and send some questions in that they may want to
Yes,
ask
sir.
you. I'll reserve probably like the last 30 minutes for questions to be asked by our sisters. But brother, you asked, where is it? You asked the women again. You said currently gun violence is considered an epidemic and a public health concern that has affected communities throughout the U.S., namely Black and brown underserved communities. This being the case, what other public health concerns other than gun violence has targeted women, which has affected them feeling and being safe?
Wow. I tell you, brother, asking, being the recipient of that question, it's just so many things that flash in my mind all at one time. And, just as being targeted, women that affected them for being safe, just the information activities that target our Black women, coupled with the gun violence, coupled with access to, inadequate access to healthcare, inadequate access to education and employment, their physical environment, as I mentioned before, as I alluded to, the safety as far as gun violence and safety in their physical environment and inadequate living arrangements can affect their ability to feel holistically safe. And then psychological, as they look at themselves on social media.
Yes.
The enhance this and the enhance that, and making her feel that she's not good enough, so she sees somebody to get hers enhanced or taken down. In some situations, it has caused them their lives.
Man.
Because they went in somebody's basement because they didn't feel that they were adequate enough. They weren't safe in being themselves.
Man.
They didn't accept themselves. They tried to aspire to European beauty standards and so forth.
Right.
Which gets me to self-esteem versus self-worth. Which is a big deal here at A Bridge to Life, which we focus on. We don't focus on self-esteem too much because the world can influence your self-esteem.
Right.
By just giving you, accolades or trying to tear you down. But what we attempt to do at Bridge to Life is to take those keys and unlock that rusty lock. And awaken the God inside you, so you can. It don't matter what the world say. You know your worth. You know your value.
That's right.
And that's what the protection of womanhood kind of just. Again, it's a 2-hour panel conversation, so we're not going to solve any problems here.
Right.
But we're going to inspire the conversation to go forward and awaken or allow that we identify the self-worth and value of our Black women.
Yes, sir.
Because she truly holds the key to the universe. And enemies of her understand that.
Right.
They understand what she holds.
Yeah. Pharaoh understood that.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Pharaoh understood that. I don't think we give due estimation to what Pharaoh said in the Bible. He didn't say kill the female and spare the male. He said kill the male and spare the female. Well, why did he spare her? Because he saw the intrinsic value in our woman. And you see that today in other ethnic groups. The prize is the sister.
That's right.
And they know that, And we have yet, I thank Allah that I've come to the realization and I've matured enough to understand the value of the women in my life, particularly my wife and my daughter, you know.
Yes, sir.
But we as black men, as a community, we now have to, because if we straighten up, by her nature, she'll straighten up.
That's right.
Know? But
That's
when
right.
we're on social media platforms calling her all these names, and you know, we think we're making sense. You know, we're half learned, we're half intelligent, but we don't understand that, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, words matter. You
That's
know,
right.
whether we believe it or not, words matter. And the proof of it is when you talk to a child a certain way, in the early stages of their development, it affects them for a lifetime.
That's right. And just to further amplify that point, to answer the question, the esteem versus the worth.
Mm-hmm.
As the question says, this being the case, what other public health concerns other than gun violence has targeted women, which has affected them from being safe? Her feeling of her value, her worth, because it's so much pressure focused on her.
Mm-hmm.
You see it from our teenage women up to our grown women. You know that they have to be this special way.
Yes,
And in some cases, they are willing to do anything to acquire that.
Yeah. Wow. You know, brother, I was thinking about, you know, when you talked about movies, music, and the like. You know, when I was growing up, man, the black woman she was serenaded. You know, in the music, the OJs,
That's right.
she was serenaded. Y'all remember them songs? Forever mine. Oh, girl, because you're my kind. You know what I'm saying? But
yes,
that was the kind of lyrics that you heard in reference to black women. Don't you ever think about leaving, because my heart will be grieving. Don't go. Stay forever mine. But now, man, she's cussed out.
That's right.
Who engineered that? That's by design when you go and study it, you know, but that just came to mind as you were talking, man. I'm like, wow, man, the music. And as you mentioned, music, movies, and the 24-hour news cycle, you know.
Yes, sir.
It accosts our their psyche and our view of her for a 24-hour cycle. And it's crazy, man. And we have to take responsibility and do a week. Now, we're going to do it on this platform. You know, this little old bitty budding platform called 10K Fearless Tri-State. We're going to do the best we can with what we got. And that's why we're going to have a part 2 to the discussion. I got another question for you too, brother. What is some of the work you've done? And good God, it's 18 after. We stop at 8:30. But it's all good. It's all good. Don't worry.
Yes,
if you're available next week, we can get you right back on, and we'll pick up right where we left off. But this question is, what is some of the work you've done in the area of reducing domestic violence? Because we want to talk about what are we doing to try to stem the tide on this stuff we're talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I tell you so well that panel discussion, which by God's grace and mercy, sir, next Thursday at East Stroudsburg University, Pennsylvania, I will be hosting the third of a multi-city roadshow that was initiated in Tampa, Florida, in July, which was well attended. And thank you, Reverend Gallen and Student Minister Chad Muhammad from Muhammad Muslim 47 for not only attending but participating and allowing your little brother to facilitate this very, very important panel discussion. Then last month, last month, it was in New Orleans.
Okay.
And the city of New Orleans, the New Orleans Recreation Department actually sponsored it.
Okay.
We were partners on it. So that was huge.
Yes, sir.
And again, this next week at East Stroudsburg University in Beers Hall from 2 to 5, we're going to have the third of potentially 6 panel discussions focused on the protection of womanhood. We're looking at the fourth being in Dallas, the fifth being in Atlanta, and the sixth being in either Northern California or Southern California.
Yes, sir.
But the so what to that is this. As I mentioned before, we're not here to entertain. We're here to train.
Yes, sir.
So with that panel discussion, I am collecting the data. I am recording the answers, and I'm categorizing per question. And what I'm doing, I'm extracting the themes, the subordinate themes, and the emergent themes. In God's grace and mercy, if I'm permitted, I want to create a manual of sorts. Because if we protect our women, we do a greater job in protecting our communities. And Mr. Farrakhan said, we want to make our communities more safe and decent places to live.
That's right.
So with that, we have to start with the root.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start with her. And then our communities will move that much further in being a more safe and decent place to live.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes, sir. And that dovetailed into question number 7. For the next 10 minutes, I want to get to that. I want to get to the question about the challenge of Black collegiate women to face disclosing sexual victimization. Because a lot of our women are afraid to even, they don't feel safe. When you talk about feeling safe, they don't even feel safe enough to tell what happened to them, to even disclose it. So they try to bury it unsuccessfully, but they try, because it will always rear its ugly head somewhere. And the most places that it rear itself is when they try to relate to a man or a significant other. And it has a tendency to spoil a relationship. So if you don't mind, brother, I'm going to fast forward to that.
Okay.
For the remainder of this podcast. Now you're in your dissertation, your doctoral dissertation. Yes, y'all, I said doctoral dissertation. This brother did a dissertation on, listen at the title, quote, "A Silent Dilemma, semicolon, the challenge Black collegiate women face disclosing sexual victimization," end quote. Can you walk us through what inspired you to do such a project and tell us about the project itself?
Yes, sir. Well, first, sir, I'm in love with you, Black woman. I'm totally in love with you. I know we have our issues, we have our problems, we have our conflict every once in a while, but I admire you. I admire everything about you. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been throughout the world liberating not me by myself, but, with others, liberating oppressed communities. And one of those communities, I said to myself, I need to look at this unique community, the Black woman. And namely the college woman. And when I wrote that, it was during a period of a lot of accusations of sexual assault or sexual misconduct directed towards Black women in 2018 to 2020. And I said I wanted to do this. And what I did, I interviewed 8 of the most courageous people, and I know some pretty tough folks. One of them being you.
Man,
one of them being you.
When it comes to my wife, I'm a cream puff, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm serious, brother. Nothing can affect me in the world. It's like I got on an iron vest. But when it comes to these 2 women in my house, brother, I'm a cream puff.
Yes, sir.
Well, go ahead, bro. Yes, sir.
So I had the opportunity to meet with 8 powerful Black women who never disclosed their sexual victimization until I interviewed them.
Wow.
And Allah lined them up for me. I remember one of my dissertation committee chairs, a white woman, said to me, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because you remind them of their assaulter.
Ooh.
Yes. Listen, you remind remind them of their assaulter. They ain't coming out to talk to you. They're gonna keep that to their grave. And as soon as I put the advertisement out, they just start jumping out the water. Mm-hmm. I want to tell my story. And I thank Allah because I presented myself professional and ethical, and I met them where they were at.
Wow.
I did not force them to answer a particular question. I had 4 questions. They might have answered question number 25. Or they answered the question that they wanted to give me their lived experience. And I had to respect that. I took it, the period that I looked at was from 1989 to 1999. Uh-huh. And the reason why I took that period is because I was in college during that period.
Right.
And I said to myself, what did I do? Indirectly. That's right. Man. Allah said, listen, I'm going to hold you accountable for this. Uh-huh. What did you do to facilitate their non-disclosure?
Adam, where art thou?
Go ahead, son.
No, I just thought about what God said to Adam in the garden. He didn't say, Eve, where art thou? He said, Adam, where art thou? He held a man accountable.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's right, sir. He's, so I looked at as these women, these courageous women were telling me their stories. I was saying to myself, Larry, what did you do? What did you say? How did you act indirectly to facilitate this environment of non-disclosure? So it was very illuminating for me, and it gave me a greater sense of empathy and compassion for those that are perceived not as strong as others.
Right.
So that's my mission, brother, is to liberate the oppressed.
Wow.
And from that, not only did I do that, and I encourage you listeners, please Google me, Google A Silent Dilemma, the challenges Black collegians face, disclosure and sexual victimization, and read all 300 pages. Because it's very, I think it was just very, very different from my background, being a former Green Beret, doing all these things militarily, that all of a sudden I just turned a corner and write this. So not only did I identify the problem, but I identified solutions. And I pray the next time that we speak, brother, we could get into some of those solutions. But I identified not only a silent dilemma, but what I'm hearing from our dear sisters and our panelists from these various cities, from these random cities, that how can we make our cities more safe and decent places to live?
Yes, sir. Man. Well, my brother, we're at the end, man. And yeah. I just heard you mention next Thursday you're going to be in another city with the panel discussion. So once we get offline, brother, we'll make arrangements, God willing, for you to come back. And I really want to drum this one up because, like I said earlier, with what I do for a living, brother, the time that I've been an investigator of abuse against children, but specifically against women. I was on the adult side before I came to the juvenile side. And it's horrendous, man. I had no idea, until I got into this aspect of investigative work with the police department that I work for, that our women were being accosted on this level and on a daily basis, man. And a lot of it, the lion's share of it goes unreported, because our women and our young girls just do not feel safe to even disclose what's happened to them.
That's right.
So they're made to feel that it was their fault. They're the problem. It happened because of you. All kinds of things, brother. And it just amazed me. But brother, look, we want to applaud you. And we certainly want to thank you, dear brother, for coming on and having this conversation. Or I should say, starting this conversation, because it is most definitely not the end of this conversation. So, dear family, we're going to get ready to land this plane. We're going to go to the last part of our program. We're going to bring back those who sponsor and support us. And we're going to come back and we're going to end tonight's program. You all stand by. We'll be right back.
And the only people on this earth, the have to stand up and confront their enemy is my people. Negroes are the only people I know that can do it.
Ghost. I ain't dead. It's a pleasure to give my life just to live forever. He who weaponizes the blood of martyrs said, get your children ready for the slaughter. Blame the patriarchy, thank your fathers. But every racist devil had a racist mama. When strange fruit meets forbidden fruit, your hands up today, don't shoot. So say my name. Really can't afford this price of fame. Who knew the guy had a boomerang and he called it karma? She ain't never shied away from no drama. From 1555 to 1955, we watched it intensify. Some still believe the lies, cause niggas too scared to believe they eyes. My
worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the listen live button, or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reporting?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
Yes, 10K Fearless Tri-State. Again, I'm your host, Brother Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. We want to give our brother, Dr. Lawrence, PhD, an opportunity to give a few closing remarks before we close for the evening. Brother Dr. Lawrence, man, what would you like to leave with us before we part ways?
Oh, I just like to thank all the listeners. Thank you for being patient with your little brother this evening. I pray that what I said did not make anyone upset or disappointed in your brother. We're just trying to, again, build this plane while in flight. I know that, we're facing very unique times, but we must have the intestinal fortitude to have these difficult conversations. And I will end with this, as I end with all my podcasts. It takes a network of progression to defeat a network of oppression. Everyone and everything is a resource. So how do we make the net work? So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, please follow your brother, or you can tap into my website at www.abridge2light.org. That's abridge2light.org, and you can see us on TikTok, Facebook, and or Instagram, AB2L. And I look forward to coming back to this audience to continue this unique conversation so we can make our communities more safe and decent places to live. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Praise be to Allah. Brother, thank you for accepting our humble invitation. We look forward to bringing you back. So until that time, brother, may Allah bless you with success and protect you in your travels. All right, dear brother?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Well, brothers and sisters, that does it for this episode of the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Please be reminded that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has said to us, quote, "No one can attempt to help our people do anything productive and constructive without feeling personal hurt, pain, loss, being evil spoken of, falsely accused, sometimes beaten, sent to prison, or even put to death. This is the path of Jesus. This is the path of Muhammad. This is the path of every sincere person who wants to see his or her people delivered from our present condition. Always remember, dear family, self-improvement is the basis for community development. Until next week, inshallah, or God willing, we leave you as we came with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice, we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless.